But you know what? When I was watching the Arsenal Man City game, as you do, they made a comment like it was Eni Aluka, you know So she made a comment when she was talking about Saka, about his penalty, and she was like, "We know that Saka has a history of penalties." And I turned to my boyfriend, and I was just like, "Is this from the one penalty that he missed at the Euros?" And I was like, "No, we are not doing this.
It can't be.
What other history is there?"
But he's made off of penalties.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's literally a comment that they can make. Well, we know that Saka has.
She should know better.
She should know better after what she's been through.
She should know better
after what she's been through. Exactly. So, I was just like, listen, it's just like being at work. You make one mistake and they will remember for the rest of your. Look how many penalties he's put in since.
It's true.
Crazy.
But he's their star boy. It's all good.
Anyway, welcome back.
Welcome. Another week.
Episode
34.
Yes, we'll do intros after, but I'm glad you remembered. It's been a good week. Like, this week has gone like that.
It has gone really quickly.
I feel like we were just here the other day.
Literally, I feel that way too. And the weekend went too quickly for me.
So quick.
Yeah. So, I mean, happy to be here, but
we did it on Instagram story. I did a Monday morning like check-in to ask everyone how everyone was feeling about going to work today, and the response was not good. Everybody was like tired, like over it, ready for the 4-day week, and I'm like, is that just like a Monday feeling? I used to love Mondays.
Who what?
And I don't hate them now, but like,
Why did you love them?
I just feel like, by the time you get to the end of the week, you don't really have any control over really what's going to happen. But Monday is the day where you can decide how your week goes. I think it's given I love my job. I don't care. I know. Given I love my job,
I have to just stay silent.
But it is because like on a Monday, like even whatever happened in the last week, you can just come in and be like, okay, cool. Set your priorities. Do what you need to do. Like it's like a fresh start.
I'm happy for you.
Drink your water.
I'm happy for you.
Whatever happened last week, if you drank 3 drops of water, this is the week that you're gonna drink them. You're gonna drink them 6 cups.
I'll think of you next Monday.
No, but I do. I didn't love this Monday because I was kind of tired. I didn't sleep very well. Accountability. It's not that I didn't sleep well. I went to bed late.
I mean, that's different.
Yeah, it's different. But yeah, I didn't sleep a lot. So then I was kind of tired. And like today, everyone was just like, it seemed like everyone was going through it. And then I went to one of my clients and I had chosen this particular day to go in because that's when most of like the HR team are in. And when I got in, was anybody there?
Who goes in on a Monday?
No, but they do. They go in like routinely. Like on a Monday, it's like busy, like standing room only. Like you're finding a desk somewhere else.
Oh, really?
So I even got in early so that I could secure a desk. And I just thought, I'm early. I'm really early. Like, I say really early. It was like 8:40. And then 9 o'clock rolls on.
No one.
Is anyone? No, I was like, 9:15,
Really?
9:30. There was like 4 of us, and the team is a decent sized team. And then it was just like a bit of annual leave. People just choose not to come in, and then I just thought I'd rather be at home.
Wow. Yeah, every time I go in on a Monday, it's literally a ghost town. But I kind of like it.
What's the point?
Just gets me out the house, to be honest. Yeah. How's
And
your
also
week been?
Because that is a bit of a clock watching. Sometimes people do a bit of clock watching when no one's in. You were here. You've
Literally,
done your calls,
I've been
seen
seen
in the background. Yeah, it's 3:30.
Yeah. How's your week been, Lola?
It was good. I genuinely can't even remember what happened last week. Like it's just a blur. Yeah, it's been fine. Chilled weekend. Like.
Yeah, well, I know our podcast is growing, but I found a podcast that I really like. I think it's kind of new. It's nothing to do with HR. It's called Entry Level Mums. And
cool. I mean, what's it about? Like new mums?
Yeah, so it's hosted by 2 mums, from what I've gathered, and they just seem to be having just really normal, candid conversations.
Really like them, you a lot of things on this podcast
about literally just about being a mum. And they had Ria Allen on.
Who's Ria Allen?
Oh my gosh, she's a YouTuber.
Sorry,
I'm sure people will know who she is.
Yeah,
she's hilarious.
I'm really bad at
maybe if I show you her
name.
And she's got 2 kids. Like one's 1 year old and one's 3 years old.
Is she a mummy blogger or is she just a blogger that has kids?
Nah, she started off doing Rhea rants, they were called, and then like she got pregnant, so her
mummy blogger by
yeah,
default.
like her content's kind of like a mix of stuff now. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, if entry level mums wants to have me on the pod, I'll gladly go on it.
Oh, come on this one.
Or come on this one.
If it, like what?
We'll do a working
they just talking
mum
about
pod.
normal life, but like as in as mums or
Just yeah, like as parents and just like their experiences and not making it look and sound perfect because it's not. Yeah,
I like that. Do you know what? Right now, over the last couple of weeks, I feel like the podcasts are dropping like flies. Like we've seen like a couple of podcasts get decide. A couple of podcasts that I listen to decide that they're not going to be running anymore for various reasons. And I was actually thinking like I need some new podcasts to listen to, like to like fill the space or like just so I might check it out.
Yeah, no, it's a good
prepare
one.
myself for the future.
Yeah.
Would it scare me? It's not like that kind
No,
of stuff.
not at all. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, we're going back to the structure of having some HR news.
Yes.
In the beginning, so
it's been a good news week for HR.
It has. What do you want to start with?
Do we go nice or do we go violence?
Let's start nice.
Okay, let's talk about Dove.
Okay. Yeah, I really, 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 really liked the Dove campaign. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's essentially a campaign all about Black women and their crowns, so their hair, and what is seen as professional and what isn't seen as professional. And in the campaign, you can see different Black women's hair change from what is seen as professional. So like straight, bone straight, long hair, well kept, air quotations being used, transition into like dreads, afro, and just their natural natural coils, which is how it grows out of our heads. And it was just kind of just challenging that narrative of what the majority in the UK will see as unkept versus is it actually unkept or is it just...
I wasn't sure if it was a UK campaign.
Is it global?
I think it's a global campaign or American. What's the Crown Act? Where's that from?
That's here, I believe. Here. I'm sure that's the push.
That's the one that's like linked to like the one that the Halo Code was one.
Yeah.
But I love it.
It's amazing.
I love it. And it's so funny because when you see these things, you feel like, we're past this point because we've been having the conversations about hair discrimination for a very long time, especially at work. But I don't know if anything has even changed. I think there are some people that are a bit more educated, but for the most part, I definitely think that people would still think that certain hair is unprofessional, or even stuff like, if you wear your hair straight, will you be more likely to get compliments? Like stuff like that, and I definitely think there's a lot of like stigma attached, and it feels like it's the same as in the workplace and all the stuff that we always hear in schools of like little girls coming in. And
did you see the one not too long ago where she had a heart plaited into the side of her head?
And what did they say that the hair has to be tied back and well kept or something?
Yeah, I was like, you okay?
Yeah, like, and then they get sent home from school, and just hair policies which are clearly not made to be like with a diverse audience in mind, telling people they can't, for instance, we shouldn't be able to see your scalp.
Hello.
Like, when I part my hair, I want you to see my scalp. Like, just stuff like that. So, yeah, I loved it. And I love the way they did it. It's just, like, so nicely executed. It's like, I like it.
I really enjoyed it. Do you, like, the way your hair is now, Lola, like, you've got, like, your curls and stuff. Do you feel comfortable going to work like that? And would you feel comfortable going to an interview like that?
Yeah, I am now, for sure. Like, I don't give a heck now. Like, I go however, and I feel like that, but it has taken some time. Like, when I spoke a bit about before I joined the Deloitte graduate program, when I got the offer, I was transitioning, so I was trying to grow out my relaxed ends, and then as soon as I got a job, I put my hair. I just relaxed it. I literally relaxed it. I was like, I cannot go there doing up tiny Macy Gray. Like, I just couldn't. And it's so like I felt so like I didn't feel guilty about it, but I literally like, as in the offer dropped, I got it. I think I put my hair like 3 days later. I was like, let me make it easy for myself. Like, I already felt like I hadn't even been there, but I already felt like self-conscious. So I relaxed my hair, and then when I was there, when I started to get a bit more confident, then I decided to transition naturally. So I did everything. Like, I grew out my hair, chopped it off, had it afro at work. I've done everything now. So Yeah, I'm fine with it now. And like I go to interviews with like big curly wigs and stuff like that. I don't know if it's maybe because we work in HR. I feel like it's all right. And I also ride the diversity wave a little bit, you know, like, and also when I do my hair, like, and it's big, it's like, even, I can't explain it. It's like acceptable afro. Do you know what I mean? I'm not washing my hair and then going with my hair all shrunk. Even this, like, it's like, oh, your hair's so blah, blah, blah. If I was to wash my hair and let it air dry, that's when I'll know if you really like my hair.
If you're really messing with me.
If you're really messing with me. If I wash my hair and let it air dry, no, that's when I'm going to know if you F's with it. So
yeah, that makes sense.
What about you?
I didn't really think about hair at all. Like,
Is your hair natural?
Yeah. So
right, it's
straightened now.
Do you ever wear it curly?
Do I ever have my hair out? Is the question that you should be asking.
Do you ever
I have braids a lot.
Weave? Oh yeah, you do. Have
braids
a lot,
people that watch the pod will know that I have braids a lot. So, but I never felt away. Like, I didn't feel, you know, braids came back into fashion basically.
Yeah, they did. And I love that for us.
Yeah, so when they came back into fashion, I was like, okay, take me back to the 90s. I'm gonna rock braids. I never thought, oh, what will anyone think of me because I've got braids? I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but I've never really been conscious of what my hair looks like for work. But I think that's because I never have my hair out. So it's,
but even braids, like, you know, people can feel uncomfortable
about
like braids.
Foy was talking about that, wasn't she?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true, but I don't know. I just never felt away.
I think part of it is like the environment that you work in as well. Like, I actually think in HR it's probably easier. Like, even if you work in a corporate environment or an environment where it's not the norm, I feel like just things are just more acceptable for HR.
Yeah, I agree, and I feel like the sort of person I am in HR, I'm waiting for you to say something to me. Come, say something. Let me get a payout. Let me get something.
And I just feel like in HR as well, people are kind of afraid of us. Like, they're afraid to say, like, they just aren't as reckless, because I've worked in HR and outside of HR, and I definitely think that people's lips are looser when you're not in HR. Like, even the stuff they
of course,
to you, they can talk to you reckless, say, make jokes which may not land, but with HR, if you know it might not land, you're just not going to try.
Yeah. So I wait for people to say something, but it never really happens. So, and now, you know, you get to a point in your career where your CV speaks louder than
your hair,
what your hair looks like. Yeah. So
I definitely think so. I do think there's certain things like where I think I'm just thinking, what kind of hair would I not be happy to have or not feel comfortable? I don't know, you know, I've done it all. Like, I literally had like buzz cut, like I had a short cut with like a little bit on top, high top, whatever I called it.
I think I burst out laughing when you first told me this.
No, insert picture. No, it was cute. So I have had like that, like, you have seen my scalp. Like, I remember when I was at Deloitte, I did it, and then one of the partners, he walked past my desk, I really like your hair. And I was just like, really? I was thinking, and even with all the scalp on the shirt. So now I'm good with it now, but I know some people still don't feel comfortable.
Do you think that campaign will actually make an impact where it needs to?
I don't think it will make an impact for the black men and women, and obviously it does include men, who is about, I think it's more about the people who are not in the group, who aren't aware. Yeah. So it's not, I don't think it's going to make black people more comfortable to wear their hair or not wear their hair, but I think it's going to it might help to raise awareness of people who don't even think about it or don't even know it's a thing. Okay. But I don't think someone's going to see that and think, oh yeah, like, my hair is professional. Like, I think that's what they want to do, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I don't. Do you think that was their intention? I feel like their intention was the opposite, was for, like what you're saying, you know, non-black people to look at this and think, maybe, and check their bias. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's all over LinkedIn, so they are seeing it.
Yeah, they are. And even, like, you know, I mentioned there's like some lady who started the Halo Code. I think they were all at uni when they did it. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them, maybe even 5. And they started this thing called the Halo Code. And it was basically a code that they would get organizations, like companies, to sign up to. And it was basically like putting within their uniform policy or putting somewhere in their policy that they would never discriminate against people for their hair, or that they're open to people who want people to wear their hair however they want, and even if they want to cover it, for instance, if you want to wear a hijab or whatever. And I remember when Linklaters, the law firm, when they signed up to it, I just thought it was really amazing, because that's like a very corporate organization. And I remember I wrote a little post about it on LinkedIn, and everyone was like, oh my God, I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know that people care about, like, you know, that would ever discriminate against people for their hair. Like, and I was just like, it's crazy how just like you can have a lived experience, and it's just not even on somebody else's radar.
It's true.
But yeah, shout out Dove.
Yeah, I hope it lands well and how it's supposed to. So yeah, what else?
It's very unproblematic. I don't think there's any way for it. Like, there's nothing anybody could see wrong with that.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, hopefully not anyway.
What else is on your radar?
So I wanted to talk about the Wellcome Trust. So basically last week on LinkedIn, there was this post that went out about a job. Someone tweeted about a job. It was like a director of, I want to say, equality, diversity and inclusion at the Wellcome Trust. And it was paying £211,000.
Must be nice.
Yeah. And I've never seen an EDI role at that kind of level before. Or maybe there are them, but they're not one where they advertise the salary for sure. And I don't think I've even I haven't seen many chief equity whatever officers before, like chief level, C-level, C-suite. Yeah. It's like they have the chief talent officer or the chief people officer, and then under that person they have the person responsible for EDI. And everyone's just like, oh, that's a crazy number to have on an equality role, diversity role, like. And I've looked into it, and I just think it's really interesting. So basically, the Wellcome Trust is essentially, it's a not-for-profit. They do funding. So they have a lot of money, I don't know, from donors or wherever they get their money from. And they basically allocate that to different research projects. And in 2020, like all the other organizations, they were like, oh, wait, are we racist? Like, are we institutionally racist? So they were like, we want to be an anti-racist organization. They made all the big statements, and they said, we're going to review this. So then the review came out in August 2022, or that's when they published it, and basically it said, yeah, this is very much still a racist organization. Like, that's literally what the review said. And the director, who's like, I guess the CEO of the trust, he came out and made like a really good statement. And I said to you earlier, it is easily the best D&I statement I've ever read before in my life, because it basically said, yeah, we said we were going to do this. We haven't done it. It's really bad. We don't want to just talk. We want to do. And these are the things we're going to do. And they were very tangible things. So one of them was, of course, like getting this person in. They said, we're going to get a very senior ED&I person in. And they said that person is not going to take responsibility away from the rest of the people on the board of doing the work, but they're going to facilitate and they're going to challenge. That's their role. 211K to challenge. Me, I challenge every day for free.
Where do I send my CV?
And then I actually think it makes sense as well to, you know, you say this is so important, so pay the person like well. Yeah. But there's been a bit of controversy because I can't remember what other role they're recruiting, but because it's like a not-for-profit, they have to be transparent about their salaries and stuff. And I think, I can't remember what the other role was, but it was another C-level role, and it was paid, I think, 180. And everyone was like, you know, maybe like a more like normal role that you might see, chief strategy officer, chief operating officer, something like that. And everyone was like, why is this role paid more than that role? And I was just like, if it was any other, if it was the CFO or the CPO, no one would be asking these questions.
It's true.
It's just because you think diversity is not actually that deep.
Yeah.
And people are questioning
it. Of course, yeah.
And they also made some other really good statements, which were like, or commitments. One of them was that they're going to implement positive action with their actual funding, because obviously because they do medical research, who you fund can make a big difference to communities, and they have realized that the way they're funding is also racist. Like, if you read the report, the some of the stuff in there is very damning. Like the director, when he wrote the statement, he said, if you read this, some of it's distressing. Basically, people in their organization are less likely to, like black people or people of color in general, they're more likely to be underpaid, they're less likely to be promoted. Generally, their experience is terrible, and it's like a very well-known fact. Even like their seniors have acknowledged it. So they've said, when it comes to funding, or if there's two proposals that are of similar merit, they're going to give it to the one that has the best, that has a diversity lens, or that is, you know, led by people of color. And that, what else did they say? They're going to ring fence a certain amount of their funding towards projects that are led by people of colour.
Wow. I mean, I love the accountability.
I've never seen something that accountable, but also I've never read a report that an organisation has published about themselves, which was them tearing their own singlet that.
They would never, like a lot of companies would.
It's because they're non-for-profit. I think they have to have a certain amount of transparency. But any other organisation, they would never publish it. If you can, guys, it's like just Google Wellcome Trust, like diversity. It will come up. It's from August. If you read it, you'll see like. It's very like it was a proper report that they commissioned, an investigation. It's like reading an ER. It's like reading ER notes on the company, and it's very bad. But I like that they're trying. They're doing something about it. They said they want to be like anti-racist, and they're just very much still racist. And not even that they're just not anti-racist. They're actually racist.
I mean, it's a start.
Institutionally racist.
It's a start, acceptance, and then moving from that.
Yeah, exactly. And I like, there was a bit in the statement that he wrote, and he said, we want to learn, how to identify microaggressions better and to understand their impact. And then he went on to say, and even the word microaggression, I'm using it as it was used in the report, but these things, that's a very misleading way to describe it, because microaggressions can have such a big impact on people. And again, like, I've never seen it. Organizations need to be taking note. I don't want to see this, we recognize that we have a long way to go, and we're going to work together to come up with a plan, to do a plan in the future. No, this is what you need to be writing.
It's true. Just say it. Just say it.
And this way, you've told us what you're going to do, and all the accountability is out there in the open, like tangible things. They can't not do it now.
Well, these companies will say in 2020 they released their statement on diversity. They all recruited their diversity officers and partners, and
they made them redundant.
literally, and they're all part of the redundancies now. Like,
it's disgusting.
Yes,
it's proper bad. But yeah, like, if there was an organisation to take note from, not on the institutional racism element, but that exists in most organisations,
of course.
So yeah, I think thumbs up to them.
Yeah,
I rate it. And anyone who's thinking, they might want to apply for that job, shoot your shot.
For real, go for it.
This is going to sound very ignorant, but like, I just feel like 100k or 150k DEI role and a 211k role, they can't be that different. You may as well just go for it.
It's true.
Even if you think it's above your station, if you think it's not at your level,
just go for it.
Apply for it, because if we don't, we know the people that are going to apply.
That's not who needs to be there.
That have the most audacity.
And that's not who needs to be there. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, love that for them.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to talk about Eamonn Holmes. I used to love Eamonn,
And he was unproblematic.
Yeah, because, if you're in your late 20s, 30s, you'll remember him from the
Why do you remember him? Because you're not that age.
You're right, I'm Gen Z. But, I have an older sibling.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'm with you.
But you'll remember him from like GMTV and stuff. And he was so like jolly, and, everyone loved.
Was he with his wife?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
his wife's name.
Is it not Kate?
I don't know. I just know Richard and Judy.
Oh, good times, yeah. But yeah, so basically, Eamonn Holmes has recently come out and said it's really hard at the moment to be a white man, an old white man in today's society. But he was
TV.
He was specifically talking about TV because he has a radio show, and he was saying that's not the audience he's bringing in, is not the audience that they're looking for. They're looking for a younger, more diverse audience. They took him off of This Morning. Is it called This Morning or Good Morning now? But yeah, they replaced him with Alison and Dermot O'Leary. So right there. Then
who would you rather watch?
I love them too. They're
That's what I'm
amazing.
saying.
Yeah. So he was talking about all these different things happening and just feeling just out of place in.
Let's unpack it, because I think it's a very wild statement. I think there's some stuff that is of merit there, maybe around his age.
No.
Why?
No. Because for a long time, black people, I will talk on because I'm black, if you didn't know. But yeah, black people it's not like in America. In America, you had your BET and you had all these different networks where you could see
your self-reflection.
Yeah, and there were lots of sitcoms like that came over, you know, the Mauritius, the Keenan and Kells, etc. But what black people have done really well in the UK, I think, is used YouTube to their example, to the point where now all of these ITVs and these BBCs, they're looking at, you know, the Chunks, the Phillies, the Nella Roses, all the, even people like Lippy. Who would have thought somebody like Lippy Lickshot, if you know who that is, was going to be, Lola's face, was going to be on, you know, all these different, like, you know, content, big companies' content platforms. Like, so I feel like they've done a good job at creating their own spaces and their own channels, because people didn't want to see them on mainstream TV. And Eamonn, you can do the same at your big age. You're a millionaire.
And you have a network.
Exactly. You have network, you're a millionaire, you have the resource, you have the time. So you too can go and find your own Patreon, your own YouTube, your own TikTok.
Do you know what? Yeah.
And you can find your own space, because there's still a market for you. But don't go and complain and say it's difficult for you when you've been on TV my whole life.
No, do you know what I don't like about it? So when I say he had a point, I mean, it is harder for older people when, like, in media. There's only a certain number of, like, a handful of people that you can have as they're getting older and they're very endearing. Like, and not
shout out David Attenborough.
Do you get what I mean? David Attenborough, my G.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But there's only so many David Attenboroughs, and I think, yeah, that is sad. Do you know what I mean? But also, I'm with you in terms of, like, how many other people, how many other groups have gone through the same thing that you've never spent the time to recognize or to create space for, or to do any of that stuff. Now suddenly, after you've had a good run in TV and media. You've been on the TV, household name, been on the radio, and now your time is up. You're doing Poor Me. Like, but have you ever taken a second to think about all those people whilst you were having your glory days who didn't get the space because actually you were the in-ting, which was a younger white male. Now you're not necessarily in that bracket. It's not your time. And now it's suddenly, oh wow, there's inequality.
Honestly, it's just pure jealousy. That's how I see it. It's just jealousy.
Do you think he hates Dermot O'Leary?
Probably a little bit.
But do you think he hates Alison?
More.
Yeah.
More. He's this black woman with such a loud personality that's taken over.
She's so good. Like, sometimes you forget she came from Big Brother.
I know.
Like, she's really, like, Love Island people pay attention because she's really made a household name. Alison, Stacey Solomon, which other reality TVs have made, like, you know, sustainable careers for themselves?
Oh gosh, you've put me on the spot. But there are a few.
Mylene Class, to an extent, before, not really now, but
not Mylene Class. It's really okay.
But she did she became like this whole mummy, you know. That was her lane,
I guess.
Who else is there? That, you know, who's trying it now? Olivia Atwood.
Yeah, no, she's doing quite well.
Yeah,
and Billy and Sam from The Only Way Is Essex as well. They do. I don't know them. Yeah, they do quite well as well.
But I mean, like, making money off, like, not just being an influencer, like, you know.
Even though they have a show. They had a show.
So I don't know who else, but it's not easy to do. So shout out Alison.
Yeah, no, she's done fantastic. She just did the BAFTAs, didn't she?
Did she?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it was behind the scenes or, but she did. Yeah.
For Alison, I think like, we need to shout her out. Like, she is a woman. She's black, and it's something we don't talk about often, is like size and weight. Like,
she's plus size.
She's plus size. She's a plus size woman. So even to be like a plus size woman and, like, be in that space, and people don't always want to give you the time, and a lot of the time as a woman, how you make your space, or how people, because you're beautiful, and she is beautiful, but I mean, like, the stereotypical, like, you know, size, whatever it is, A, and all of that kind of stuff. But she didn't necessarily have that. She is obviously very beautiful, but she didn't have to necessarily fit in that box, and I love that for her.
I love that too. And just one more thing, I just think it's really tone deaf as well, that Eamonn said it's really hard to be an old white man. Like, do you think it's only hard for you? And the fact that he's just saying it as a millionaire, and
to be fair,
and a healthy person, as an able person, do you know what I mean? Like, who's achieved so much. It's like, you are so cheeky.
No,
aren't you?
it is. And also, I wonder what part of that he feels is the problem, because he's saying it's to be an older white male. What part of it does he think is giving him from? Does he think that it's being a man that's hard? Does he think it's being a white person that's hard? Or does he realize that actually the only thing that has changed in his whole life is his age?
Yeah, literally.
Being a white man is not causing you is not doing anything bad for you. Like, there's loads of white men, and also like, someone should give him some of the messaging that like we get, like as women or black people or whatever, that like, listen, some of your mates are doing. Look at David Attenborough, be like him.
It's true. Maybe if he was a little bit nicer, then a
little bit more knowledge.
Yeah, literally, then maybe you would last a bit longer.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know who are the other older kind of white men
apart from Bruce and David Attenborough. I feel like there's a few. There's like, look at I mean, she's not really a presenter or whatever, but Mary Berry, like there's a lot of old people around, like still she's fly, like still doing their thing somehow, some way. Like there's an audience. There's still people who look for those people to hear from them.
And also go to another radio station. There are radio stations who have that audience, and there are loads of people that like, he should start a YouTube channel, start a podcast. You can start a podcast.
It's true. What do you want to do? Come to Capital Extra. Where do you want to go?
Do you know who we should put in that bracket with him? Tim Westwood.
God. Oh my gosh, yeah. They're around the same age, no?
I don't know, but Tim Westwood is in his 60s, so...
Yeah, so is Eamonn.
Oh no, are we putting Tim Westwood in... That is so sad that he's in the small list of successful, household older white men.
Anyway, we won't talk too much on Tim Westwood because he still needs to answer for his crimes. So.
Yeah, he will never do though.
No, he never will. But yeah, so that's my my rant on Eamonn Holmes.
Not yet.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to talk about was football. We're back in our football
bag.
Our football bag. Yeah, so we'll talk about it at the beginning of the podcast actually. But so this week or last week there was an incident at an Arsenal game where basically one of the referees made like a poor decision. So for those of you who don't watch football,
look at Lola, like she's some those
of you not like me who like not football pundits. So basically, now in football, you have referees on the pitch, the ones that run up and down in the shorts, and then if there's like a call which they're not sure about, then they can go to like the video assistant referee, and that's a guy who has the screen and the instant replay. And basically, if there's like an offside, you basically pardon
VAR,
VAR, and basically if there's like an offside call and it's like close, you can basically play the replay and you draw a line, and then the line says if it's offside or not. So during an Arsenal game,
sorry, can I just say, people who watch football who are going to hear this are going to be like, oh God,
tell me if I'm wrong.
They're just going to be like, get to it.
We have to. This is an inclusive podcast.
It's true.
Anyway, so, and it's relevant. So basically, one of the biggest parts of that is to draw the line. And he made a mistake in that he made a call without drawing the line, and it was the wrong call. But if he had put the line in, he would have seen it was the wrong call. And basically that meant that one of the goals was allowed, which wouldn't have been allowed. And rather than Arsenal winning 1-0, they drew 1-1. And Arsenal, like, that it had a big impact for their place in in the league and stuff. And so everybody, like a lot of Arsenal fans, were like, this is unacceptable. It's not the first time that has happened, or like even this season, or that this particular referee has caused issues. So then a couple of days later, this guy has been a referee for a long time. He used to be an on-pitch referee, then it became VAR, and then just like that, it felt like he was just gone. Like, they were saying he got fired, but obviously he actually resigned. I don't think they would have fired him that quickly. And it just got me thinking, like, in certain industries or certain things, do you get less grace to do what you do? Because if he was like an employee in a normal situation, would he have been would it have been so bad? Would everyone be expecting him to resign or to be fired? Referees are actually self-employed, but to be fired. Or is it the fact that like there's been one or two things and it just got a bit too much?
I just think the tolerance in football in general is very low for referees, for managers, for players. Like the tolerance is just so low because the end game is to win. Like Chelsea, how many times have Chelsea have had so many managers in a short space of time. Like, you'll see one and then they've been sacked. You'll see managers get sacked all the time really quickly, because it's like, if you're not winning, then I think you need to go.
Yeah, I just think it's very short-sighted. Not for this particular guy, because my understanding is it's actually not very good. And actually, even I was doing a lot of research, and even in like the refereeing circles, like like that one person in the office, or
everyone knows.
That everyone knows it's really not hitting, and you don't know why they're still there. You don't know, like, why have you already been fired?
Oh, they passed probation. Oh, okay.
Exactly. You're like, oh, you must be friends with the boss or something, right? So it's given that. But like, if you actually watch like football, the only people they have real tolerance for is players. Obviously, they're like the money makers, the showstoppers. They can make mistakes all day. With managers, referees, or whatever, as soon as they're making a mistake, it's like they're ready to be like, they're like, this person out. And it's like, they need to just learn to, like, they need to take some HR principles about, like, okay, this person is not performing.
No. They need to win.
They don't. Look at Arteta.
Arteta is a great example.
So he's the Arsenal manager.
Yeah.
And his first couple seasons were not it.
Yeah.
But he needed time to season, to get to know the players, for them to learn his style, for him to actually have time to coach them and develop them, especially when they were essentially underperforming, right? So, like, and now they're flying. If they had actually fired him,
can I just say, it's because Arsenal don't like to spend money. So if they sack Arteta,
a lot of companies don't like to spend money.
But Arsenal, a lot of the football teams who actually make a lot of money, they do not like to spend money, and I feel like that's one of the reasons why.
Not like Man City. Spend money on
exactly.
anything.
And Pep is actually good at his job, and Arteta came from
Side, I'm so sorry. My friend recently got married, and at her bridal shower, one of the questions was, "Who's your celebrity crush?" And she put Pep Guardiola.
I think he's handsome. I'm not laughing with you.
I'm sorry, but yes, he's handsome. But he cannot be your celebrity crush.
Why not?
Oh my god, we've digressed. But
sorry,
it's a completely unacceptable answer.
Pep is handsome.
He is handsome, but he cannot be your celebrity crush. Anyone who watches this video podcast, we're gonna put a picture of Pep on the screen. He is a very handsome man, if he's married, if he's got a partner, he's a very lucky person, but is not given celebrity crush.
Oh god.
But anyway, so Arteta.
Arteta came from Pep. Mm-hmm. So do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's another reason. Yeah,
and they speak about why.
So I feel like all of that stuff helps, but I feel I just think the tolerance is low in sports in general.
Are there other industries where it's quite low as well? I think
banking,
sales. Oh, okay, but I agree.
Yeah, I've worked as a HR person in sales environment, and it's literally
pip. And it ain't even a real pip, because they don't want to improve your performance. They just want you gone.
All they speak is numbers. If you are not hitting what they need you to hit, those targets, they want you out. But they don't want to work with you. They want you gone.
But do you know what? I think that's exactly the same as here, because like with football, because I worked in a sales environment, and a lot of the people that were senior, when you look back at their history, when it was a smaller company and it grew, they were in the business for like maybe a year or 18 months before they really hit their stride. Now when you're a salesperson and you come in, this was a recruitment business, but now when you're a salesperson, when you come in, they expect you to be like profitable in like 6 months or 3 months. So the people who are now expecting you to be pam, they didn't even hit like that. So it's that's like true. There is definitely something about giving people time to season. This is not the referee. He was very seasoned, right? He's just not doing as well. But in certain industries, it's not acceptable to make mistakes.
I agree. Yeah.
Even if the people before you made mistakes.
Yeah. And you see it in the responses and reactions from those employees who do make the mistakes. Like, it's horrible to see, like, the stress.
They're scared.
Yeah.
They're scared.
They're so fearful.
Tears, exactly. But that's we was talking about Saka at the beginning, like with the Euros, when it happened, it's you miss one penalty, and then now they're talking about, he's got a history of penalties. It's like, you don't, you can never forget the mistakes that you made, or like, they're just in this low tolerance environments. I think in banking as well, I think that's quite like in like client facing banking, I think it's quite cutthroat as well. It's like, okay, well, numbers dominated things, and I guess football is a numbers dominated thing.
It's all about points and goal difference and all this stuff. Do
you think it's the same in I don't watch other sports, but do you think it's the same in rugby?
No idea, but no global sport is like,
or even NBA. I feel like they don't fire managers like that.
No, I don't think so.
American football, they don't even know what they're doing. Like, I don't think they fire managers like that.
That's true. I don't know. I can't speak on those sports.
I feel like, we just need to have more patience sometimes when it comes to like either making mistakes or settling in. I would be such a good manager. You'd have to give me a lot of time to season.
I say that as well. I think I'd be a really good football manager.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think I'd be really.
You would
good.
like literally be like strategy. You wouldn't be emotional. You know, like, you know, obviously it's mainly men that watch football. Obviously women watch football too, but like they like to act like women are very emotional. But I think the most emotional type of person are the football fans.
They're crazy.
And like football, like I think I would go in. I would be very like logical. I would do analysis, analyze. But I would be like Arteta. Give me some time. I'll get us there. Yeah, if you listen to me as well.
Yeah, no, I think I'd be.
And if you don't, now I'll make you leave.
But in a nice way.
Yeah,
like you talk to them.
You know, look,
it's like everything would run smoothly. No one's going to run to Piers Morgan and start talking. You know.
To me, sometimes you can't control those people.
So yeah, do you know what? We haven't introduced ourselves.
Oh my gosh. Hi, my name's Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
Hi, my name's Velisa, and you can call me Velisa if you want. And this is the Everybody Hates HR pod, episode 34.
Hi, bye.
So yeah, I really, really wanted to talk a little bit this episode about being in HR and partnering with different stakeholders and just key partners around the business, and how you build those relationships and how you nurture those relationships, and what to do when those relationships aren't working. Yeah.
I think, who are the key kind of stakeholders that, obviously besides like line managers, who are the key stakeholders that HR usually has?
So legal is a key one. Depending on the company. So like I've worked at companies where there's no legal, and you either go external or you're just a heavy risk taker. And I've worked in companies where legal is like my best friend.
Do you know what some of the hardest companies to work in? The one where there is a legal person but not an employment lawyer.
Oh yeah,
because they'll be telling you to go to legal, and it's like, you don't know this.
I've been there, and they're like intelligent property
from their one module that they did at university like 20 years ago. They're trying to school you. Like, that is actually so frustrating.
No, we're not going to do this. So yeah, they would be a key partner. Finance.
Yeah, finance always.
Yeah, is a key partner. Who else is a key partner?
Marketing to an extent around employer brand stuff, especially in a smaller.
That's like my worst part of like HR, like getting involved in, is the employer
brand stuff.
Oh, that's not for me.
You know
at
me,
all.
I'm like a LinkedIn mogul.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I
it's
love all
not
that
for
stuff.
me.
Like,
because what I really want to do, they're not ready for it. When I start using Coil Ray's version with Premier Gower, they're gonna be like,
That's what they need though.
Exactly, but they're not ready for it. So.
Yeah. So marketing, and then obviously just ops, like the COO, or sometimes you have like a chief of staff function or whatever. And who else? Oh, for like facilities. I don't know, where sometimes they feel like that's HR responsibility. And compliance, if you have a compliance function. I guess legal and compliance is kind of together.
Yeah, true.
Legal risk, compliance.
True. Forensics.
I've never worked in a company that had a forensics team. Sorry, I'm not on your level. Not yet.
Whatever.
You're like big, like you're big company. I'm small company.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
true.
I've worked in big companies, but it's not my bag.
Yeah, no, I prefer big companies.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how do you build and nurture these partnerships?
I think it just depends on who. Like, realistically, some of the partners don't want to be nurtured in it. So I think what I always found to be helpful is like meeting people properly face to face. I think I said that last week. The first time I meet someone, or at some point I want to get, like early on, I want to get a face to face meeting with them, actually introduce myself, credentialize myself, if that's a word, be like, you know, have your story, have your pitch ready about who you are, not in a really salesy way, but when you, like, as a consultant now, I've gotten very good at like explaining my experience in a way that makes people think, oh, really? You know, like when you go in there and then you just say, oh, I've worked in HR. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not giving. But I think if people think that you know your stuff, then I think that helps. So the very first thing that they ask me to do, I'll make sure that I absolutely smash it. I smash everything, but I will overdo. You told me that you make one slide. That slide, you're never going to see the slide like it. One slide for your deck? What? You'll never have seen a slide that it will embarrass the other slides in the deck.
Oh, gosh.
So I think that helps to like give yourself a strong introduction and understand what they do.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. I think understanding what they do and them understanding what you do as well. I feel like also both sides should be able to speak in a not colloquial but just in a casual, candid way where you can have those open and transparent conversations with each other so that you understand the goal that needs to be met. Because one thing I've found working with legal, for example, even just working in tech in general, just too much lawyer speech, or even when I've worked with like engineers and stuff and they're just talking too technical to me, you're not going to get the best out of me because I can follow you, but...
And you won't get the best out of them. So when you're talking to a finance person and you're talking like in HR terms, which they might not necessarily understand, then again, you might just lose them along the way and they might just like tune out.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it helps to just find a common language and speak that way to get to whatever goal it is you need to get to. But I've also been in situations where I'm frustrated because that's not happening and I feel like I'm going round in circles. I feel like I'm over communicating and it's not doing anything, to the point where I'm like, have I gone South London now? Have I overstepped the mark? Because, you know, like I feel like I'm not somebody at work who likes to be too firm with people. Because I feel like if you're hearing me, you're hearing me. When I have to be firm, just know, anyone that I've had to be firm with, just know that you would just
push me to it.
Yeah, you've pushed me really, really far, like over the edge, and that's why I was firm with you, because now I just feel like you're a bit dense.
I'll move with how they are, because some people, like, it's about respect as well, not respect for me but respect for the function. And if you don't respect HR as a function, it will come out in the communications that we have 100%, with each other. So you can see that some people don't, and sometimes you just need to explain to people, and sometimes you need to make them feel how they look, which is stupid, and you need to say, well, if we do it that way, this is the consequence. You can say it nicely, then if they don't get it, you can say, well, this is what could happen and this is why it could be bad, and did you think about that? And they know that they didn't think about it, and they can see the value then that you add. But I'm fine to be firm with people, especially like, you see how probably in a bigger company you probably have more interaction with legal, but in a smaller company you'll have more interaction with finance, and sometimes finance can be the gatekeepers of what you need. Because everything that, like, sometimes even if you're in HR, you might, depending on the side of the business, you might report into the CFO, or like there's some sort of dotted line there, which is just the worst dotted. Like, if you can sever that, separate, because it's just nonsense. But you know, sometimes you have to do that with finance, and people who work in finance sometimes they don't necessarily, because it's very numerical, you know, it's very logical, it's numbers, it's accruals, all that kind of stuff. They don't necessarily have an appreciation for HR. They just think it's like either admin or touchy-feely fluffy stuff. So if you can, like, with those people, I definitely think sometimes you need to be firm, and when they can be dismissive, which you can experience sometimes, you need to explain to them why they can't dismiss this and what the risk is, like talking their language, because finance people, they can understand risk, especially when you quantify it. When they're saying, oh, it just doesn't matter, just do this, and then you say, well, the potential risk is X, and then they start thinking, if that number hits the books, people are going to be looking at them sideways. Suddenly they can start to understand where you're coming from. That's
true. When I worked in a smaller company, I had to work with finance a lot, and there was just one gossip on that team, and she'd always come over whenever there was like a settlement agreement or something. She'll be like, oh, I saw what so-and-so got, which, can you believe it?
And it's like and sometimes they're like fishing for like what happened because they don't know what happened.
Exactly.
They might know the number.
Exactly. And I'm just thinking, can you go enter your job, please? Like, can you actually process this? Because I need this done before X, Y, Z happens. Do you know what I mean?
I worked in a company where, like, you know, when you do a settlement and then obviously you're not the one who makes the payment. It's finance to make the payment. And then it's all done, told finance to make the payment. And then maybe like 2 days after the money was supposed to drop, I get an email from the employee saying, why haven't, like, they haven't received the money. And I'm literally on the phone like, you had one job. You had, like, you know, that's the kind of thing, like, but it's just not on their radar.
Yeah.
It's month end.
Yeah.
You get to it. I'm like, no, like, this is not something that you can mess up.
They don't think about it in the same way that we do.
Sometimes I don't think it's as important. But when you get a good, like, a legal or a finance person who really gets it, makes your job so much easier. Or if they know they don't get it, that's even better. To talk to a lawyer. They just let you just go and speak to an employment lawyer externally or something like that.
No, I had one legal partner who I really, really, really liked because he just got it. Like, I could, do you know, I felt like a lawyer because I could just go to him with, I could propose something of what I wanted to do and the risk that I wanted to take. And he was just like a sounding board. It was like,
validate it.
He was like, no, I agree with your approach. This is fine. Or we could do it, but there's potential for this to happen. What do you think about this? And we would have a healthy discussion about it as peers. I feel like a lot of the time with legal in particular, sometimes it does feel like you're not peers, or it doesn't feel they're your advisor, but sometimes it doesn't feel like they're an advisor. It feels like they're a decision maker, but you're not. The business is the decision maker. I'm trying to get help. You need to help me get to what the business want, because they're the decision maker. So if that thing is they want this person out, even if I don't want them out,
we need to come up with the options.
We need to come up with the best option possible to get them out. If we need to follow a PIP process because, you know, they've got more than 2 years, for example, okay, that's cool. But what happens when the PIP is done? Like, what can I do kind of thing? And I feel like it's great when you can have those honest, healthy conversations, especially with a partner like legal where it's not safe to always write things down and email. It's just best to just have that conversation. So when you have it, it is good. I definitely I have a contact who used to be at a law firm. She works in HR. She's head of HR, and she used to work at a law firm, and now she works at an accounting firm. And she was basically saying, like, it's completely different because when you work with accountants, they don't assume that they know more than you. But she said when you work with lawyers, even though they're not employment lawyers, you can't advise. Like, you don't have the space to advise. And I think one of the best things about HR, working in HR, is that we didn't have to go to law school, but we still get to. It's true. We still get to give legal advice.
We didn't go, and that's where, like, you can really come into your own. Like today, have you ever just been talking and you think, I smashed it. I had one of those moments today where somebody had said something and I was like, I flagged the risk that they hadn't thought about. It was with the business, and then I just went off and I explained it, and you just sit there and internally you have your internal dialogue, like, girl, yes, like, tell them, and you can just see them, like, they were just impressed, and I was like, mic drop. It was so good, but you don't get to do that when you work with lawyers.
It's true. It's true.
If you work with, like, lawyers who think they know everything.
It's true.
Even if they don't. Working with I'm telling you, it's such a soul destroying thing having to check something with an employment lawyer. I mean, someone with a commercial lawyer who is who's on employment law.
That was being my smaller company.
And they're Googling. I've already Googled.
I'll never forget. I was relatively new in HR. I think I just got promoted to HR advisor, and it was like my first proper grievance that had come to me, and they made me go to the intellectual property lawyer to get it's the blind leading the blind, honestly, because why they sending you there to get advice on, like, how to best, lay out this grievance and how to best investigate it and stuff.
That's a damn shame.
And I just remember, I feel like she was like, just like, I would be like, so I think I should do this. Like,
sounds like great.
Great, go on, that's fine. And
in hindsight, you realise.
When I think about it, I'm like, she didn't know anything. Like, she was just hoping that I knew the basics of it, and
it sounded
literally
sounded good enough.
She had not a clue.
Yeah, but like, she probably was just happy that you proposed something sensible, because what the hell was she going to do if you didn't?
I can't believe they did. Anyway, that company,
intellectual property, that's actually very that's actually very left.
Literally, like what can she possibly have to offer me that just got made advisor, just completed CIPD?
No, it's actually it's so wild. But yeah, it is hard sometimes to partner. Like, but when you have like a good partner, you know, when you just have like a good stakeholder and you just like talking to them, like, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna run this past Jerry or whatever, and you're like, Jerry is gonna like, you know, tell you if what you're saying is dumb, but if it's not, and it's probably not, they're gonna be like, yeah, this is a good idea, and you'll feel better that you spoke to Jerry about it. That's what a good partner is about, or like flagging stuff that you haven't thought about, or building on your ideas or stuff like that. People that build us up and not tear us down. Basically.
Yeah, that's what you need, basically. But those are hard to find.
I think it depends, you know, like, yeah, I know they are.
I think they're hard to find. I think as you get more solid and you grow in your career, they become easier. It becomes easier to kind of create those partnerships. But I think
to educate.
Exactly. Yeah. But I feel like before that, they are hard to find.
Yeah.
Because it sounds... It's not. It's more of a developmental conversation rather than a.
It's like coaching. It's like exactly. Coaching.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's what it is, and I think when you're more senior, it's easier because you can recognize people's expertise and also recognize your own gaps better. Like when you're more junior and you're really just looking for like the answer, and you're working with some, like, even lawyers don't always have the answer. Like, it's all about applying employment law principles a lot of the time. Like, it's not always black and white, and you need to be able to do that thinking. And also, if you do work with external lawyers, what I always do, because I've mainly worked with companies that have no budget, or like very minimal budget, or it's like a sign off your budget when you need it. I always write the advice and I send it to them what I'm proposing to do. Like, whereas if you're junior and they give you just say, give me a letter. Yeah. And the way law firms will hammer, I've worked in professional services, so I know they get the associate, you get this person to review it, then it goes to the partner. They're spending time writing a letter that you could have written yourself, and they could have just tweaked it.
It's true.
And for half the price.
It's true.
And then your budget's gone and you begging again.
Can you imagine?
I know you're thinking the bloody ghetto, isn't it?
No, I've been there. I've been there with they didn't even let us use external lawyers. They made me call ACAS. I remember.
ACAS is ACAS has a place. ACAS has a place, but from an employer's perspective, I actually think it's the worst. It is. They do nothing but early conciliation. Like, there's no benefit. Like, you can't call, at all. You can't. What is good to call ACAS is to understand exactly what they would have told an employee. So if you ever think, okay, an employee, what would ACAS say? Because obviously, you know, it's just good to know. But in terms of advising, they're supposed to be impartial, and I think they are impartial, but they're in both directions.
They're very employee friendly. Like, that's
they are employee friendly, but they're kind of useless both ways. They don't really give, and even for employees, they don't give. You're better off going to citizens' advice.
That's true.
Anyone who works for ACAS, tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah, if we're being mean.
Yeah. I wanted to volunteer at Citizens Advice before, because I thought it would be good to, like, from an employment perspective. But, you know, when I had same thing happened to my friend actually, but when I tried to volunteer, they said that you have to give a minimum of like 6 months commitment for like 2 days a week.
No, that's too long.
Not even 1 day.
Yeah, that's too long.
And I just said, no, it's too much of a commitment. I feel like I'm in a relationship with you.
No,
like, what the hell?
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I think partnerships are, they're an interesting one. I just wanted to bring it up because I'm having various experiences with different partners, and I just thought it would be a good one to talk about on the. Yeah,
it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's like you have to find the right style for everybody. It's literally like a partnership. Like, it's literally like being in a relationship, trying to find the style that works for both of you, how to communicate. The only other thing I would say is if you're having a really terrible time and you're really struggling to communicate with a partner in your like business or something like that, more time they will also feel it and they will also know. So I always I'm a big fan of the ways of working conversation. It can be used in so many different ways, but like and I'm not a confrontational person, but I'm not afraid of confrontation. So if I have to be like, look, there's obviously something going on here. I feel like the way we're working is not like, it's just not working very well. I feel like we could work better together. And I feel like, you know, I could get more and you could get more. We could just, I'm happy to say that. I'll send an email and I'll say, oh, can we have a ways of working conversation? Go have that meeting and say, okay, so like, if I have a query, how do you want me to bring it to you? Do you want me to draft it before? Like, do you want me to, you know, bring it to you in this? What kind of backing information do you need? When you have a challenge, this is how it might be better to communicate it with me. Because a lot of the time we just shy away from it. Like, I'm having a terrible time. They're having a terrible time. And we're both pretending that, you know, we don't hate working with each other. Yeah,
no, I definitely agree with that. I'm like new where I am. So it's actually tomorrow that I'm doing it, a presentation on ways of working.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, to do with the different partners, and I've created different scenarios for us to go through so that we can, with the team, so that we can actually discuss like what would we do in this situation and what they would do in this situation, to see how aligned we are and if we need to like adjust and adapt. So I definitely agree with you on that.
I wrote some training recently, and you know who really wrote it for me?
Not ChatGPT.
Some scenario-based training, some scenario-based questions. And then I was like struggling, like I wanted to give answers to the questions, and I just put the question back into ChatGPT and it spits out the answer.
You need to stop mentioning ChatGPT unless they're going, unless they're going to do something for you.
Someone commented on Instagram and said that, I think they commented today, and they were like, oh, ChatGPT, mind blown. And I asked them if they'd ever used it before. They said no, and they just found out from the pod. It's changing their life. But then that's it. That's all the free promo that they get.
Yeah, that's it.
But the only thing I would say is that last week I said it was free, and they have, as of last week, it's never been monetized.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so basically there's like a free basic bitch version, and then there's a plus version now. And so basically when the website is like, when there's a lot of traffic, if you have the free one, they'll block you out, and then they'll give priority to people that have paid $20 a month.
Wow. So you can't be Gen Pop and think you're going to have access.
Exactly. You might, like, it happened to me. I thought I had done some stuff, and I thought, let me go back in there and get it. Nope, blocked out. 4 hours.
Everything's about status now. Even Meta, you can pay for verification now, can't you, on Instagram?
Can you imagine? I'm disappointed that Zuck is following Elon. Like,
he's doing a lot. Have you seen the gifs in the comments as well?
I saw that.
I don't like it at all.
I saw that. It's like, wow, like, when did that happen? I remember it's like, this is really the fall of like Facebook or Meta or whatever. Like, they used to be innovators. Now
they're trying. They're holding on for dear life.
Now you're just copying, like, literally write your own 16. Like, what is this?
We know they don't do that. They've been copying from day. What are you talking about?
They copy, like,
Reels was because of TikTok.
It's true.
Like, everything they
Stories was because of Snapchat.
Exactly. They've been copying. What are you talking about?
Literally.
Yeah, bar for bar all the time.
They bought WhatsApp because they couldn't copy it good enough. No one wanted to use Facebook Messenger.
Literally. I'm sure we'll see something else that will be based on
portals, basically Skype.
Yeah, it's true. I've got a portal and I do love it.
Is it good? Like, do you have to use Facebook to call?
No, it's great. You can use it for Zoom calls. You can use it for WhatsApp. This is true. It is promo, but it is good. I do enjoy using my.
Is it like a video thing, like the one you have in the office?
Yeah, but you can. It's basically a slash tablet as well. So like sometimes,
is there a camera on top of your TV or something?
On top of the portal.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, like there's a screen on the portal, so you can use it wherever.
And you can plug it into your TV
if you want. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, they're copying bar for bar. It's actually very embarrassing.
I mean, what's new?
It's very embarrassing. The last thing I'll say, just because we got onto Elon, apparently I'm not even going to talk about it too long, but some employees at Tesla, did you hear? They tried to form a union and he fired them.
He is such a bad guy. He's such a bad guy.
You know, apparently there was like 30 of them got caught trying to form a union.
And he said, no.
Goodbye. But then, to be fair, there was reports that they denied that's why they fired them. It just so happens that it was the 30 people that were trying to form a union that then got fired.
I'm sure their lips have been sealed with money.
I don't think they pay people off in Twitter and Tesla.
You don't think so?
All these people that are dragging them on the internet.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
There's no way. I think they're American as well.
Damn.
So
yeah.
were they American? Do they have yeah, they do have unions, but imagine trying to form a union is giving UK government, and now you're being fired.
What can we do?
Yeah. Actually, I lied. I said one more.
Oh, you got another thing?
One more. So last week we spoke about that. I mentioned that woman, Ash. I didn't say her name, but she was the one that said it's really good with, like, she speaks about unions and stuff. Only to log onto Twitter and see her talking rubbish
about.
She was basically saying, you know, like there was this trans woman that was killed, and people were using the thing "say her name," and obviously that's what they made
for black women.
For black women, because obviously they're more likely to be like not like recognized or like shouted out or whatever, or like paid attention to in general. And then somebody had said, like, it's not appropriate, like, if this is a tragedy and we should, you know, it's a different movement, like we shouldn't detract from that. And then she basically came and said, she quote tweeted and said, all of this identity politics, we just need to come together, like we should.
How can she say identity?
She called it identity politics, and then she said that basically we shouldn't be fighting over who can use which slogan or whatever, and you know, we should just come together. And I just thought it was so tone deaf, because obviously the whole reason it's there is because there's all these black women that are getting killed or getting missing, but no one even knows their name. They haven't, like, it's literally there for a reason. It's not just because we want to have a cool slogan. Like, people are literally dying. So yeah, she came out. I just was so disappointed in her.
Yeah, identity politics.
She called it identity politics. Like, you can't, like, I can't do identity politics. Like, I'm literally black. Like, that's what it is. Like, that it's not identity politics. But yeah, so she's good at the union stuff, but
that's it.
That was very disappointing for me. She'll have to really do something to redeem herself.
On that note,
last week we said we had like a question, and it was about if people have used ChatGPT, and we also asked people to leave reviews, and we've had like more reviews on Spotify now, and it's really cool, and like more followers on YouTube, so we appreciate all of that. I'm gonna put on this week's Spotify upload is, do people prefer watching it on video or audio? Because it's like the way it loads is different, so I don't want people to have like a compromised experience, because you can always watch it on YouTube in a different way. But yes, I'm going to put that question there. So let us know how you prefer to watch it if you're on Spotify, and if you're not, like, just engage with us on every single platform. That we appreciate you.
Yes, we do. Thank you. That's a wrap, guys.
Bye.